look like crap compared to the everybody in the 650 market,
Or,
right?
or, hold that thought, or
Next bout, I'ma better go bigger and better. If I ever lose, set it on faster than ever. If I ever lose, set it on bigger and better. Even roller coaster can bigger, bolder, faster.
welcome back to the channel. Mark Turcotte here. If you want more information on the Barrie real estate market, go in the description, hit the Calendly link, and book a time with myself and we can have a chat.
So, Mark, we're in the middle of March. March breaks over, and the market it's kind of funny, isn't it? What are you thinking about what's going on?
Well, I think it's funny, but I think it's on the right track. And I think we are seeing consistent progression each month from, January, February, and March. Right now, up to March 20th, we've had 95 sales so far, and that's excluding condos. That's just freehold homes. That's pretty good. In February, we had 89. So we've already surpassed that, and we got 10 or 11 more days left of March. We've seen bidding wars. We've seen sales that they got what, meaning, oh, they should have got more. So let's talk about that for a bit, because we've seen that a lot so far in March, where we're going, holy cow. And we'll talk about that one on Leggett where we both had numerous comments on it, where it sold for 705 and 705, I think, listed 699.
Yes.
And it showed
And they
extremely
did
well.
and they did withhold offers. And they obviously got a bidding war because it did go a little bit over. But I'm noticing that in the bidding wars, people are pricing it, pretty low, and they're selling, but they're not selling for a really high over the list. Now, there are some, you get the odd unicorn here and there, but most of them are not getting a huge amount over.
They're not, but why is that? Like, a couple things that because I've just recently sold my house, and I've had, numerous calls from agents and spitting out numbers, and I'm going, holy cow, they haven't done any comparables or know what's really selling in the area. They're just like submitting offers and hoping that maybe a seller will take that. And let's be honest, at 705, I don't think I would have taken that on Leggett. I think I would have been a little bit more patient. But if we look back on what happened last year, people are still, obviously that's still telling us that there's some fear hanging around still. I better take it because I might not get it. Well, I don't know. I think I would have waited on Leggett and could have got more.
There was a few that I saw that I thought, whoa, that was low.
Yeah.
And then there was a few that were, whoa, that was high. So it's kind of all over the place. And I did look at some stats. So for freehold, under $1 million, so just a detached freehold house.
Yep.
I did like a weekly thing here that shows, all the numbers. And by week, it changes quite a bit. Now, when you look at average sales, the problem is you could have 2 or 3 high ones in that week.
Correct.
Right? And that could throw the numbers all off. But what's funny is since the end of January, and it was 737 for the average sale price, under $1 million, right? And then it went to 766, 744. February 20th, it was 778 was the average price. So now for the last 3 weeks, February 27th, March 6th, and March 13th, we were at 726. We haven't seen those 726 since like the end of December, and it's held for 3 weeks.
Yeah, but again, that depends on the inventory, what's selling that week, right? So if we've got more, and we know what's selling consistently is under $1 million, let's just say 8 and down. We see 859, 950s, improving, and $1 million's improving, but it's still the majority of the properties turning, at least 90%, and I'm pretty dead on with that number, is under 800,000. So what happens if all of a sudden we put a mix in there and I don't know, some house sells for 525? That's going to bring things down. So I don't think people need to be alarmed when they see weekly ups and down on the average price, because it really depends on the inventory, what's selling. Don't take that as a guide going, holy shit, I better hope I get 726, or for my house, I better get, should take that low offer because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think people should read it like that. I think that's always going to be the case depending on the inventory, what's turning in that week. And we're going to have some ups and downs. And then the following week could go back up to 787. We see, because we are seeing some higher price points selling in the month of
So we
February.
are.
We've
And
seen it.
and you know what? I've always said that ever since I've started in real estate, because I used to be in accounting, that averages, when you take an average sale price, it's so subjective
Correct.
because you don't know in that week what sold or that month. Now, you and I both noticed that in the new year, the million, the 1.1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, they're selling.
Not great, but they're selling more than they did last year.
Yeah,
Like
they weren't selling the end of last year. They weren't selling.
in the month of February, there were 13 sales that sold over $1 million, which accounted for 15% of the total sales in February. So last year, the last quarter, we've seen the average was at 5. So it's tripled in a sense,
Well,
right?
yeah, January there was 5.
Right.
So January there's 5, February, which is a short month,
hmm hmm
was 13.
Right. So that's a big jump. And if we look back at the previous quarter, it was very consistent throughout, even the third and fourth quarter, at 3 to 5% of the inventory over a million was selling. Like it was tough. That price point was taking the brunt of things. Now that we see a pause in the interest rates, I think that buyer over a million is starting to come back, and it's tough to qualify. Let's be honest; like it's a tough price point to qualify for. Like
Well,
it's
and
rough.
and what I think it is it's the Toronto people that are finally kind of dipping their toe back in, where they're selling down in York region or they're selling in Brampton and they're getting, 1.5. So over here, 1.2 is like a bargain and they're getting a way better house. It's not a first time buyer, right? The $1 million buyer is the one that's already selling. They have a lot of equity in their home
Mhm.
and they can get approved because their mortgage still isn't really big.
They're sitting on some equity, right? Or they're buying it with several other people, and we're seeing, you know, more people, different cultures, of course, have no problem sharing a house with 10 to 12 people, depending on the size, whatever, pulling some money together and we're buying this house. So, yeah. So, we're seeing that buyer come up. And, you know, I think the sentiment of the market is also changing, right? When Tiff just talked, in March, I think it was March 6th, where definitely the pause is there. We're not going to raise. Well, that's going to stay for some time, and I think as we progress through 2023, we're going to see more people enter the market and feeling more confident. So, what I think right now is that the buyers are back, but I'm not seeing the sellers have confidence. They're still kind of
Yes.
scared, and we're seeing it too. We saw it on a property on Bentley that we both was listed for 669, and we thought, that was okay. I thought easy 750,
So did I.
right? I mean, it was decently done. Great area, decent
End
presentation.
unit. It was an end
Right,
unit. It had pretty good square footage. It wasn't terrible, and it's a nice area.
right,
I thought it would go over that too,
right.
and they
So
had 8 offers.
8. That's a lot. So out of the eight, let's just say over half are no good.
Yeah,
Easy, if not more. Three quarters
yeah.
were no good. They're looking for the one. So that obviously that was the highest price point at 7.25. I think they could have did better. I think they could have just said, "Hey, you know what? Let's just wait. Let's maybe advance the date, or let's just maybe take it off the market." That should be easily a 750.
Well, and
Land
and do
like that.
you do you with what I'm seeing with the multiple offers and kind of what's going on, were they better just listing it at 749, 24-hour irrevocable, and bring us an offer, no withholding?
Yeah. If their goal was 7.25, yeah. But again, let's go. Okay, so now we're going to flip the page back because I listed my property at the same time, and I got 3 offers, and 3 of them were no good. Right? Really, They were like,
Yeah.
no one did their
Yeah.
homework. No one did their homework. Oh, they did a little homework, but I'm not still taking it. So I got rid of 1 and 2 that were crap, called number 3 and said, I ain't taking any of them.
Yeah.
So what do you want? Well, I want 765. 5 minutes later, it was 765 back on my computer. But not everybody would have done that, though. Not every buyer would have said, okay. And let me talk about that buyer because I don't see that buyer a lot in the last 5 years. And it was a young couple that came through the open house, probably no more than 25. Came with mom and dad, loved the house, and I recognized the names on the offer and in the faces. That's how I knew it was them. They couldn't stop talking about it, couldn't stop talking about it. Mom and dad wanted to get a deal done basically right there, asking all kinds of questions and telling me that, you know what, it's a cash offer, no conditions whatsoever. So mom and dad probably were a big influence on buying or gifting, maybe buying a house for them. I don't know their history.
Or giving a down payment or
That's
something.
right.
Yeah.
Doing something to get them into the housing market for that young buyer. I think this year, and they better get in now because we all know what's going to happen once this market gets some wheels on and sentiment going. They're going to get priced out, priced out, priced out, and priced out. It's coming. We've
Well,
seen
and
seeing it.
what's to me is that so on that day you got 4 or 3 offers. They
Okay, let's talk about that for 1 sec. Yes, hold it. 3 offers, and probably told 10 agents to take a hike because they're stupid. Because they're
yeah.
calling me up without seeing it. What's the price? What do you want? What are you gonna take? Haven't showed the property. So
Yeah.
those conversations
No,
don't go well.
but if you got 3
Yeah.
and Bentley got 8,
Hmm.
in one day there was 12.
Yep. Yep.
So there's buyers.
There's buyers. Yeah, there's buyers. That open house that I did, I got 15, not 15 people, 15 couples,
Groups.
we'll call it. 15 groups through in a sense. It was a busy. So yeah, there's buyers out there.
Okay, guess what else I noticed? I've been doing open houses at my listings, and then I was showing some houses with buyers, and we went to open houses because they fell within my showing time. So I said, well, we don't really need to book a showing anyway. We want to go there at the same time. We'll just
Yep.
go when there's the open house.
Yep.
We went to 3 of them.
Hmm.
Every one of them busy as hell.
Yeah, I know.
Couldn't believe it because like 3-4 weeks ago I did the open houses 2 weeks in a row. I didn't get one person, not
And
one.
you did them too. I remember there was some shit weather along the way too, right?
Well, I did,
Crap
yeah.
weather, and that's gonna because the
Well,
buyers aren't very buyers.
no, and when I went, like, say there was a storm coming on Sunday, I would do the open house Saturday.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It wasn't a
Yep.
stormy day that I did them,
Right.
but I've tried through February and January. I've done them, and I got nobody the whole time.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, at the beginning of March, it's like, oh my god, like there's
Yep.
all kinds of people in all of them.
Yep. Yep. And we're seeing that, right? And we're not seeing a lot of product.
No,
Right?
there's still no, yeah,
Still
we're
some
not.
shortage of inventory on the marketplace, and this year. Okay, so this week right now is the week where things started to kind of come down. A lot of inventory flooded on the market. I just looked at the board. There's 20 new listings, and that's all Simcoe County. I think a lot. 23.
Well,
That's not a
I
lot.
looked not long ago, and there was 12 or 13 on the Barrie board at like noon.
Right.
6 of them were canceled and relist though.
Right. 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 So
The inventory isn't popping up here. No.
it's not popping up, and I don't think it's gonna. I do not think inventory in 2023 is going to go through the roof. It's not. That was last year at this time where everybody saw their neighbor going, "Holy shit, they got that for this property. We need to put ours on, honey." And then it just a massive flood, and then it just
Well,
stopped.
and I'm noticing like I've seen some really low sales where I think, holy, like somebody like gave it away. So,
They're not
I mean,
posted though. They're
but
not
that's going to
posted.
impede. No, it's like there's some low and there's some high. Like you see some that are really high, you see some that are really low. It's
Yeah.
There's no necessarily rhyme or reason here.
No,
And I wonder, like, if I'm your neighbor and I saw that you got a crappy price, am I
I'm
going
not
to
going to
list my
list.
house?
No, I'm going to wait a while.
Yeah, I'm not going to list it.
They're not. They're not.
And the condo market, I put that offer in and multiple offer on a condo that went for a ridiculous price. Well, and listen, I'm surprised too because I know what it sold for,
Yeah.
right, which was under 800
Yeah.
in 2019. It closed in 2020, and they did do the kitchen and painted it, but the rest of it was basically the way it is now. And all of the sales in there for that model are around 950, like,
Yeah.
and lower,
They are.
930. There's nothing priced at like that sold for over $1 million.
So what's that telling you then?
Well, it's telling me that it's in demand, that the prices are going up in condos in that unit for Nautica.
There's some demand there for sure, and there always was strong demand for two-bedroom units. They wouldn't last long. A couple days they're sold. So again,
There's no listings in that damn condo. I've been waiting
they're
for
not.
my client for 6 months.
They're not. But and they when they come up, they're gone. The two bedrooms, the one bedrooms, they sit. If it's they're a hard sell in that building, but a two bedroom in that two bedroom demographic is a mid 60s young grandchildren that want sleepovers with the grandkids. Full entertainment. You got a games room, you got a pool, you got a hot tub, got a beach across the road. Let's walk downtown. Those units are in big demand, and I'm really really surprised at what a two bedroom what they're getting in that building right now.
Well, I think part of the problem is supply.
Well, it is supply for sure, and it's going to
Like there's,
right.
yeah, because that multiple offer situation we got into, we went over a bit, but I looked at the comparables. My client wanted to see the comparables. They weren't willing to go like 70,000 over,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the comparables just they don't back it up.
I think a buyer when it goes into competition pricing, yeah, use the comparables as a guide, but I wouldn't say, "Hey, how bad do you want this?" And we know out of a group of people, someone is going to step up in that group of multiple bids, right? Because you
Yeah,
can't look
well,
at the
yeah.
comparables as a sense, right? It's going to go for. We don't know how much it's going to go for. We don't know, but the last sale was 950. What I'm making this up, 950. So, do you really want it bad? Maybe you need to go to a million.
Well,
You don't know.
this one wasn't even withholding offers,
No, I know.
and it was listed for 3 or 4 days. Like they weren't withholding offers or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, that's the demand building for two bedroom units. There's
Well, and the problem is that's the new normal now.
in that building, they just created a new high for two bedrooms in there. So anyone who's thinking of selling a Nautica, call us because we can get you
Yeah,
top dollar basically because they're in demand,
exactly.
right? Those units are in demand. But also to that piece though too. Let's go back to the one that sold for that has an offer of 1,075,000. That connected with someone. Those I really believe if you can get, we're seeing some of these wow offers coming in and going, holy cow, they got that. But it really resonated with that buyer, right? The presentation was dialed, the detail was there. They pictured their stuff. They're all giggly about this. We need this home.
You
And
know
it will
what?
step up, I will step up.
Yeah, and you know one thing about that unit, even when I listed it and sold it in 2019, it's the one with two balconies,
Yeah.
which is kind of nice. There's the balcony on the front and the balcony on the back. And
Yeah.
I know if you're, a gardener or like my clients want to have a decent sized balcony because they want to be able to plant stuff out there. He likes gardening. So the two balconies, even though one has a crappy view,
Yeah, it does.
it's important to
Yeah.
them to have the space.
100%. Let's go on some numbers before we start going on
Okay,
a
go
bit
ahead.
more about its market. So I want to go over the February breakdown of what sold because we're tired of waiting around for BDR to get us stats. And I feel by myself and Dan talking about what's going on in the market, what we see, and we're involved with our clients and showing and buying and selling gives that viewer a much better understanding of us just reading off the mean price and the average and this and that. So 86 detached properties sold in the month of February, 11 sold over asking price, 13 sold over $1 million. 15% of that inventory was sold over $1 million. Last year it was 5%. Towns, 23 towns sold, 4 over list, 40 sales. Last year, 50% less than this year. So we're still seeing very consistent transactions down. As we progress into March's numbers and April's, that number is going to get great. It's going to, those gaps are going to widen and eventually be apples to apples. And I think we'll be apples to apples come June or July. We might even be a bit above on the positive side because that's where we've seen some stability, right? But if we look at numbers now, we're up against peak numbers in a peak quarter. So don't get too freaked out because the media is going to be all over stuff dropping and freaking out everybody. Same with condos too. Condos, 27 sales, 2 over list price, 60 sales last year, 55% fewer transactions than last year. But also, just coming right, uncertainty. Condos kind of lagged during the COVID too, right? They really took a backseat. So far in March, 95 sales. That's pretty good. We got 10 days, 11 days left in this month. So the traction is each month is getting stronger for transactions.
Yes. And you know what? I mean, we expected to see that big gap, right? We knew that big gap was and it was going to look terrible. Like we knew that. But yeah, I'm noticing like things are selling.
Yes.
And it seems, I've talked to a few agents that have older listings, and it's weird because a newer listing will sell as soon as it gets listed. And the one agent said to me, like, it's no better than my listing. But yet the older one sits there and the newer one gets like eaten up right away. So it's almost like if it's sitting there, there's a stigma. There's something wrong with it. There's a problem. And people are staying away from it.
Well, they have because they're sick and tired of seeing it sit in the board, right, at a certain price point, right?
Yeah.
So what do we do? When we're going through looking at listings, we're going, oh, I haven't seen that one before. Oh, I've seen that. We don't even give it a second chance. We don't look at it. So you can imagine the people on Realtor.ca who live on that looking for properties. It's getting bypassed, 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 and bypassed. And that's the thing. And again, I really feel that sellers today shouldn't be looking at, oh, well, Joe Smith's house, 2 blocks or a block away is listed at $799 and we're comparable. So I think we should list at $799. But meanwhile, we're telling that seller why. They've been on the market 45 days. They've got nothing. We're showing you the comparable sitting here. That's a $739 sell or a $725 sell. Why are we at $799?
I know.
Ask yourself that.
Yeah, and you can't look at what's listed.
You can't.
I mean,
you can't.
Well, no, because you have to a degree, because you have to be.
No.
Well, you have to compete with what's out there. So what I mean is, if you are at 700 and it's a 650 sell, everybody's looking in the 700. You're going to look like crap compared to everybody in the 650 market, right?
Or hold that thought. Or you better goddamn well show $50,000 worth of something for that buyer to look at that.
Exactly.
But if it's
that's what I mean.
Apples, sorry, 700, you're the question. We don't even want to see that. Then they call their agent up. What about, let's go see 123 Street and whatever. And what about this 700,000 probably? Oh, let me check for you. Oh, forget it, it's way overpriced. Let's not even bother. They're dreamers. So it gets missed. It gets bypassed. I do all the time.
Well, and the other problem that you see is that, which I was having an issue with, there was no sales. But, like in January and February, there's not even any comparables to really see because there's nothing selling.
But maybe going back in December, kind of seeing, right? And then would I look at a higher price listing and guide myself there? Not usually, because there's a reason why that listing is still sitting. The market, all the attention's on in the first 7 days, 7 to 14 days.
Yes, exactly.
peters out, showings peter out, and they sporadically come in, and maybe they're using that as a decoy. Well, they're 7, but they should be 650. Let's go see what the 7 gets us versus 650. And 9 times out of 10, that 7 doesn't show. It doesn't show as good as the 650. Next,
Yeah.
they won't even try to get an offer going with that
No.
seller because they know already that they're overpriced and negotiations are going to be hard. Let's face it. That's what I tell people. We can try, but I'm going to tell you right now, they're way overpriced, and the odds of getting that seller down is pretty tough.
Well, and I got a call from a Toronto agent that was going to show my property, and he goes, would they take this number? Because I've been getting into bidding wars where they're listed at 650 or 670, and we can't go over 710. We
Yep.
can't.
Right.
But we're losing and we're losing and we're losing. Right?
Right.
So these lower priced properties that are withholding offers are giving people this false sense of what the market's doing. I have a client right now that has been emailing me for 4 days about one in Innisfil listed at $699 that was withholding offers. He was listed at $1.1 million in November, and I'm telling her, this thing is, he's not taking $750, okay?
He went to $699. And before he was listed at 1.1.
And guess what happened today? Listing suspended.
Yeah.
His offer date was yesterday.
Right. Yeah.
He obviously didn't get what he wanted, and
That's
now
a
it's
big
suspended.
gap at price point, right? That's a big gap. And how many times, even I've seen it last week, watching the solds last week and looking at, and I saw one property listed for $950. It shows well, held off on offers the whole bit. What do we see new listed? I think it was yesterday, the other day, back on the board, back at $1,050,000.
I saw it.
Right. So those price points, the higher price points to try to drive bidding wars, it's not working. They don't work because that buyer is different than the $700,000 buyer, right? And that buyer is probably saying, I'm capped at $1 million at 1.1. Mrs. or Mr. Agent, what do you see that going for? Well, depending on the location, it could be 1.2, 1.3. I'm out.
My own buyer. We went to 2 of them. I showed like 9 houses in one day, and 2 of them had bidding wars.
Right.
And they didn't even bother. One of them they actually really liked.
Sure.
They didn't even, they said, you know what? We're not getting into this nonsense. But right now the market isn't, that's why we're seeing low offers on bidding wars. People are not, they're not into it. You know what I mean? They're not.
Some are, but why are we seeing low offers? Okay. That I can't answer clearly, but I can speak to going through the experience with my place is that I would get calls, and I think you know where I'm going with this. I get calls from the agents and not even have them booked a showing. Okay, I'm sending an offer over at $650 mark. It's really good. It's firm, no conditions. When can you get it back to me? Have you done any homework in the area? What do you mean? Have you pulled the solds up? There's 3 solds on the street. I haven't done that. Holy fuck. You haven't done that? Come on. Like, open up your computer. Do a bit of research before calling an agent, kind of seeing, hey, or even thinking of a number or communicating that to a client. Come on. Like, that's dumb. Let's be honest. It's pretty stupid. In my books, it's just like dumb. Like, I don't understand that.
And I've been telling
looking into things.
And I tell my clients when we're going, like the one was at $999, and I told them it's like 1,213. I called the agent, and he said, "Well, we wouldn't take less than 125."
Right. That's what they're hoping.
And my client could go to 1.1, and they thought, "Well, we're going to give 100,000 over."
Right.
That should be good.
Right. Yeah.
It's not.
It's not when it goes to those big ranges because there's certain people, they still got to qualify for that amount. It's crazy amount. The mass isn't there, right? There's not enough people that can qualify for a sizable mortgage at that purchase price. Let's be honest. So it's not going to work. You're better to price that at what the market is. If they want 1.25, price it that way, because
Yeah.
you're going to attract that buyer. Now you're going to attract every buyer, and there's like your buyer. I'm one. Let's might as well go look at it. Like, you never know, 100 grand more, they're going to take it.
Well, this is exactly, and this is a problem that I've also come across in the last couple of weeks, where with these bidding wars, half of the people can't even go to what the seller wants. Like, they're not even approved for that much.
No,
But because it's
correct.
priced lower,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Let's try it.
Correct. Right.
And that's a big problem.
It is. And I don't have a problem taking calls from agents who saying, hey, you know what? My buyer's capped. I'm going to make, and I've had a couple. My buyer's capped at 7. Do you see your property going more than 7? Yeah, I do. Thanks very much. Okay. We don't want to waste our time, which is the right thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Before going through all that work of preparing an offer and then getting your buyer clients kind of excited about the process and seeing themselves loving that house and saying, well, your offer got rejected because, they're going to get north of the number that you qualify for. And then when the property firms up and they go, and there could be 2 holy cows. Holy cow, they got that much more. Holy cow, we could have been in the running for that. Maybe we could have maybe did that.
I know.
We're seeing that, right? So
that is what's driving me crazy right now, is we're seeing that, where you tell the client, no, it's going to go way over. This is what the agent says. And then, holy crap, it didn't. And they took less.
Yeah. I agree. And if I was a seller, of course I was, but sellers need more patience if they're going to play this bidding war game.
Yeah.
In the lower ranges. Fuck it. Don't take them. Don't take the offer. Nothing saying you got to take that offer. Put it back. Because as we know from the graph that you just talked about, this business goes like this week by week. Holy cow goes up, and then traffic dies down. It goes back up, and then it goes back down. Week to week, it changes, right? Yeah. And that's why we're seeing the fluctuations in the average price, which we should, because traffic's there, more transactions, higher price points, et cetera, and then next week lower. But man, a little patience goes a long way.
Look at in the fall in Innisfil when the prices were going down. Mm-hmm. My clients rejected 4 offers. Mm-hmm. Like, we got a week. Remember, we get 1 week, we get an offer, it's rejected, we don't get anywhere. The next week we get another one, doesn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. Next week, like, it took 4 before we finally got to some, proper number. Yeah. But everybody was in this mode that, well, houses are going to drop another 50 grand.
Right. That's the thing. And here's our offer. Get ahead of it ahead of time because they're going to drop. And, and I still think there's some buyers out there, because we're seeing in the market, that still think that it is going to drop by looking at their offers.
There is.
And then there's sellers sitting on the sidelines going, well, honey, I think we should take it because you never know. We may get less. Fuck it. You'll get more. Be patient. Right?
Well, yeah. And I think that's what's kind of hurting us a little bit.
Yes. Right.
Because we get the odd person that gives it away when they didn't need to. Really, honestly, 100%. They didn't.
100%. Leggett didn't need to let that go for 705.
No way.
I think if they would have taken out some furniture, again, better for sure, bigger furniture and some other stuff, and maybe decluttered a bit. It showed well, but get rid of some stuff and show that space a bit more. I think that could be a 725 to 730. Easy. Detached.
Mark, I would have bought it for 705 and lived in it.
Yeah. I was shocked at the price point too.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that if you withhold offers and you get a bidding war and you get 4 or 5 offers or 6 or whatever, a lot of people tend to take the highest one, feeling like, okay, this is market value because this is all I got.
They do. And, and that's a discussion maybe for the agent to educate that seller.
Yeah.
Tell them the pros and cons. Maybe take it, maybe not. I'm not seeing from past years with the offers this year from Toronto agents, being substantially higher over the last years. Going, we used to love getting offers from Toronto agents. They come in big all the time. They're not coming in big.
They're
Right.
not.
They're not. They're coming in lower than kind of expected in a way. And it's some of the Barrie agents that I've had conversations with that submitted and saying, oh, you know what, we see your property selling for this and this, and it was exceeded any offer that a Toronto agent submitted in a sense.
Yeah,
So
I know. I was talking to a Toronto agent, Mark, last week, and he told me the average days on market down there right now in Toronto,
Mhm.
in the central GTA, is 24 days.
yeah, but I see that even the days on market here, I went through a bunch of the solds last night. Stuff is moving in 9-10 days, some even quicker. I've seen 4, 3, 2.
I know, but they're telling me down there, it's 24 days. That's what the guy told me, and he said,
On average,
like
but right.
people think Toronto is just flying right now. He said it's not.
But see, when I look at stuff and I haven't pulled it up in a week or two, I'm still seeing a lot of things turn quick at multiple offers down there, and a lot of my social media, that other agents that I follow, I'm seeing it as well. Like things like them communicating, like, "Hey, low inventory, bidding wars, lower days on market, buyers are back."
I think York Region and Vaughan, I think that area is hotter than Central GTA.
Yeah, that area, that's the ones that I kind of look for in a sense for guidance in a way of, because we kind of will get some spillover in a sense. I find their buying season starts early January, mid January, early February, where our buyers up here and our sellers up here kind of gear up, after Easter, lawns raked, et cetera, and do it. But then everyone lists at once, it seems, right?
Well, you
But
know what? This is what I'm waiting for, and I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see what happens after Easter because,
yeah,
traditionally, that's when we see a shift. We either see a big spike in inventory and then stuff slows down, or we see the exact opposite where nothing comes up and the bidding wars and the buyers ramp up the prices.
I
I
think
don't know which way it's going to go.
I think it's going to go that way. That's me. I don't think we're going to see massive, you know, buyers racing into the market that we've seen in COVID times. But I see more and more coming into the market, and if that inventory is not available, and we all know we're going to see more and more product getting listing as we progress to better weather. We're going to see
Yes.
that, but how fast is it going to get snatched up? Well, we don't know, but if we're looking at what's just happened for the last 3 months, things are moving in the right direction. So I think things are going to keep popping up. I think the prices will continue to grow. And
Okay, so you know what we're going to do? We'll wrap up for today.
okay,
We're at 40. And mid-April, we'll do this exact same thing.
yeah, we'll have some numbers for that too. This is a better method. I think it communicates better to everybody what's going on.
Well,
Where
yeah, and I think
transactional data.
that in mid-April, we're going to see a difference.
We'll be looking at mid-April. We'll have a much better idea of seeing inventory, see if the product's coming off the market as fast as, and seeing if I think we'll see more bidding wars. Hey, we're holding off on offers till we're holding off on offers too. Till this date, we'll see, and then we're going to see some that are not just priced at market value and 24 hours irrevocable, whatever. But I think we're going to see a bit of both, and I think, to your point, April's a big deciding month on which direction this is going to go. And I think it's going to keep inching up. Okay.
I hope
Thanks for
so.
the chat. Enjoy.